Hi there. In this video, we'll be covering why your book isn't bringing you opportunities. You wrote the book, you published it, now what? It's always frustrating when you put in so much effort and time and commitment to your book only to see things fall flat. But there's things that you can do on the back end and on the front end too to help your book reach the right audience and help you achieve the goals that you want to achieve with it. By the end of this video, you'll learn the importance of a call to action, the value of wider distribution, why distribution is so important, and why you need to be crystal clear about the things that you want to accomplish with your book. And stay tuned until the end of the video for an opportunity I really think you're going to enjoy. Let's dive in. I was on the phone last night with a friend of mine. We collaborated on a book together a number of years ago. And we were kind of lamenting and talking about the book. You know, we were really proud of it. It was super, super meaningful to write the book. And yet it didn't quite connect or have the outcomes that the author wanted. And, you know, it's been difficult to kind of grapple with that and frustrating to grapple with that. And yet I go back to the fact that there's things that we could have done differently, you know. I think so much of what we could have done differently involves a call to action. What did we want the reader to do? What do you want your reader to do when they're done reading your book? When you think about opportunities and goals and accomplishing things, you need to get the reader there. You need to get the right reader to read the book, and you want them to take action afterwards. You need a great call to action. The call to action is crucial. That's how you get people to visit your website, to sign up to work with you, to book you for speaking engagements. There's so many things that you can do with a book to unlock your power of your message. But sometimes you really need to be crystal clear with the reader in order to accomplish that. No vagueness, you know, no hope that they're going to get there themselves. You have to kind of beat people over the head with this thing. You know, this is what I want to accomplish with this book. I've had another author I've worked with, and we were talking about goals for his book too. And the thing he said to me was, I want this book to be my 401k. I was like, okay, good. Challenge accepted. You know, it was really neat for me to hear that. Like, it was reassuring to me. I don't want people to be vague or indirect about it and like hope things happen, you know, really hope that things turn out. You gotta really be laser focused on what you want, because if you're not laser focused on what you want and you don't put those, you know, calls to action into the book to get the reader to want to do the thing that you want them to do, they're not going to. They're not going to finish it. They're not going to do the things and take the action that you want them to. So you need to really figure it out what it is that you want inside and then reflect that in the book. You know, if you want to get speaking engagements from your book, you need to be very direct about that. Hey, to book me for public speeches, I give public speeches, book me here, here's my website. You know, you need to set all these things up. You have to have a sales funnel. If you don't have a sales funnel, you're going to see all these leads come through. When I was talking to my author friend last night, the one I was talking about earlier, you know, that's one of the missed opportunities. He actually ended up spending $10,000 working with the publicist for the book to market and promote the book. But the call to action wasn't strong enough to get the public speeches, to take the next steps. And because of that, the opportunities just kind of sifted through the sieve. They didn't really stick. They just kind of filtered away. Whereas I've had other books that were less read, less successful, if you will, on a reader standpoint, that generated hundreds of thousands of dollars because the calls to action were so powerful, because the specific reader was able to pick up the book, the perfect audience to read this book, read the book, and then wanted to take action because the calls to action were so strong. The thing to keep in mind about books is this: you're probably not going to make that much money from book sales alone. Fewer and fewer books these days are being read widely. Successful books might only sell 500 or 1,000 copies. And from those book sales, how many people are actually reading them? You might get actual book sales, you know, but the actual follow-through isn't always there. People will buy the book and then sit on it. It will sit on a shelf collecting dust, which doesn't do you any good in terms of the outcomes you want. It's nice for the sale. You know, if you want to make $15,000 or $20,000 from your book, just throwing out a number, how many book sales do you need to make in order to do that, in order to accomplish that? You might need to sell 7,500. You might need to sell 10,000 books. That's a lot of books. Going back to what we were talking about earlier, most books don't sell that many copies. So, that path to $20,000 could come through in one person saying, I want to book you for a keynote address. And it could also come through in a client saying, I want to spend this much money to work with you. It's a lot more likely and a lot easier to do that than it is to sell 10,000 copies of your book. It's a matter of math. The carry forward is also a reflection of you as the author. What do you want to do with this book? How do you want it to prop you up and build your career and help you take the next step in your journey? This doesn't need to necessarily be about sales. I have a friend, Bonnie Lester, who's dealt with chronic pain, and she wrote a book about chronic pain, Unwinding Pain, that was very successful. And, she's not selling anything. She actually meets with people. She has people who go to her website, book calls with her, meet with her for free, and they get help and resources and support. This isn't always about sales. It's about opportunities. It's about stepping into your power and influence because of your message, using your message to step into your power and your authority and being able to connect with new people. When I think about Bonnie, she has a great funnel. She's not trying to make money. I'm so impressed by her. I'm just really proud of her for using her message for good. She was able to overcome years and years of chronic pain and live a very successful and influential life. She has an awesome YouTube channel. She has a great website. She's doing all these things, and her funnel is great. She has one of the best funnels of anybody I know, authors-wise, and yet she's not selling anything. Your funnel doesn't need to be about sales at all. It can be about whatever you want it to be about. If you want to get customers, it can be about customers and clients. If you want speaking engagements, it can be about speaking engagements. You need to help the reader see that image of yourself. But this is a reflection of who you want to be in a year or 2, or 3 or 4. A book is a long-term commitment on yourself. It is the ultimate long-term commitment. You're thinking about where you want to be 2, 3, 5, 10 years from now. I love that. I think that's amazing. I love the fact that it's so easy to post something on social media or just put something out, but a book takes time and you need to get it right. And if you do it right, you can have lasting impact. And one more thing I want to mention too about, your book bringing you opportunities is distribution. Where is your book being sold? A lot of times people will post books on Amazon thinking, okay, Amazon is the be-all end-all. And yes, Amazon is the biggest bookseller in the world, but Amazon sales aren't going to reflect at all in bookstores. So if you're not in Ingram Spark, if your book is not available for sale on Ingram Spark, booksellers across the world, including bookstores, are not going to stock your book unless you go yourself and hand them copies. It's impossible. You need an outside distribution beyond Amazon, so you need to think about distribution. Distribution's important. It could be just on your website. Whatever your distribution model is, you want to have a distribution model that uplifts your goals for the book. So distribution model is important. Promotional platform and publicity are also important. How are you getting the message out about your book? A lot of times people just post a book on Amazon, think, I'm going to set it and forget it. People are going to find it. It's not what happens. Your book is easily overlooked, ignored, underappreciated, and forgotten. You don't want that. You can actually set up Amazon advertising campaigns where you can advertise for specific keywords and you can advertise for specific items. So if there's other books or other items that people who are likely to buy your book would also buy, you can advertise there. When you go to Amazon and search for specific categories of books, they'll give you sponsored posts up for the first half of the page, maybe even further down. Most of those posts are paid for. So if you want to get discovered, you need to put yourself in the right position to be discovered. And then you also have to have a book that's a rating above 4.0 because Amazon doesn't really promote things that are under 4.0. They will downvote or downgrade or diminish or hide things that have lower ratings. So you want to have a good book. You have to have a good book. You have to have the message clear. You have to be in the right places. And you have to put yourself in the right position. It's not easy. There's a lot of steps to this process. If you want to learn more about why your book isn't bringing you opportunities and kind of sense check what's working and not working, head to my website. It's writeagoodbook.com. There you can sign up for my emails. You can get my tips and insights. You can even book a call with me so we can talk about your book, your opportunities, and your goals. Remember, a good book can change your life. I'm Dan Good. Thanks for watching.